The fuck is up? Scorpio full moon. We're gonna keep going. All right. I'm gonna pick the sign now. The stack is behind me. We're gonna see who it is. Oof. Sorry for the quality jump. Hopefully the audio is just as kind though. So, fuck yeah. You know I love it when it's time to do Pisces. Yeah. Someone in a coochie like a Pisces. Yeah. Anyways. So happy Scorpio full moon Pisces. I already know that water moons, again, for my water tribe are always so conducive to, I feel like at least with a water moon for you Pisces, it's like, you know, you have that intuition, that insight that this moon could support the things that you've already been connected to intuitively within your waters. We're going to start with the Crystal Resonance Tarot. We're going to go into the Aquarius for your regular Celtic, cross, and then we're going to wrap up with the overall message at the end. And then you'll be on your dandiest way. I hope the Scorpio full moon was and is something you're integrating and experiencing in the best of ways. It's so amazing. We're going to start though, however, Pisces, with your overall message has to do with your path to service and specifically the feminine power. So I think Pisces is coming as we've like transitioned out of the age of Pisces. One of the things that I can see is that because I mean, essentially what Spirit is saying in the long and proper and short form, your feminine principle, your female power, right, your high priestess is actually where you can be of service. I think, you know, everybody who doesn't know shit about astrology, if you ask them anything you know about astrology, they'll be like, oh, I like a Pisces. We already talked about that. We already know how you are the general. You represent the whole zodiac. When bitches don't know, they're just like, Pisces? I don't know, right? So I think at this point, this is about Spirit calling you, however, into reclaiming that feminine power to actually like be of service. I've just been seeing like a huge shift in Pisces recently, like really coming forward and really being a part of this sort of clarification. Like, you know, I think it's hitting Pisces placements in a real way where it, you know, there comes a time to talk about like the role you played in the previous paradigm and the role you're going to be choosing to commit to playing now. And I just feel like for our high vibrational Pisces, like your feminine power at this time under the Scorpio full moon, which is a force, feminine energy, is your key to not only like liberation, but also the key to your path to service. So those are just off the cuff downloads about what we got. We don't have to do too much. Let's just get back into it, Pisces. How are we feeling? Pisces. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, Pisces, this is crazy. Pisces, I feel like it's got to be Scorpio and Lilith. It's got to be all of this water sign feminine reclamation. Like right now, the divine feminine is coming into balance by being watered. And so I feel like you're the water source in which the divine feminine can like grow and become empowered and actually like come into balance to serving. But off top, Pisces, I like, this is huge because you got feminine power as your path to service and your starting base card is the Empress, which already leads to tell me that Pisces is using their feminine nature to understand just how much and how far reaching their empire goes. And now you're actually able to like deduce real things. You know, I feel like Pisces is finally able to I feel like Pisces, because you feel like you belong to everyone, because everyone feels like they want a piece of you all the time, there's just always this sense of like non-choice. Like, you know, Pisces can, again, your spiritual consciousness just off the top of having Pisces placements allows you to understand, utilize magic, the principles of the universe to like achieve things that magic can get you. So I think you're very accustomed to that. But I think there's just like, for me with this Scorpio full moon for Pisces energy, it's like finally being restored that like you were making choices, like that I get to choose what is true for me. Like I think this is just radically about Pisces like going like, again, I just feel like with power being rebalanced to the feminine, all feminine signs, water and earth signs, are going to be coming into this this power, this authority. And I just feel like Pisces, you are paving the way right now, literally paving the way from your internal world to your external world by being a feminine principle. So like, I think our Pisces gang is really representing the feminine rise right now in like how feminine energy would work if it wasn't disempowered or systemically like disenfranchised in any way. And so you're coming through really strong. Like your Empress, I just get this energy. It's like your divine feminine has been waiting for this time for you to be able to like be of service because you have so much feminine natured energy. You are always in that high priestess nebula of the void space, and you really understand what it means to have no control, to surrender, and to let the flow of the currents really define what we're going to experience next. And, you know, I think Pisces is just the most comfortable with the mother archetype, the feminine nature, the feminine virtue, you know what I mean? And I think, to me, Pisces, I just feel like, did this full moon, like, because that's what you represent, because, like, you are actually an empress, because you're, like, actually, like, an angel on this earth, you get to, like, I just feel like there's, like, an offers of, like, lovers energy, offers of you, and they're coming because they want to be chosen, because people are seeing you as this now, right? Not the idealized version where, like, Pisces is our goal, but it doesn't really have anything to do with, like, what Pisces feels about themselves, but, like, you are being selected, you are being chosen, you are a prize because you identify as an empress. You are in complete connection with the things that you govern and with the far corners that your empire reaches to, that I feel like you're finally realizing, like, yes, I can say yes to that. Yes, I can take this. Yes, I can. Yes, it's like what I get. And I think, Pisces, it came from a long... So here's the thing, what I'm getting. Pisces had soulmates, but because of the way that the feminine, because of the imbalances in the... Like, okay, Pisces. Talking to you like Pisces. Anytime there's going to be collective imbalance, Pisces is going to feel it. So Pisces, like I said, is going to be the people... When you look at your Pisces placements around you, you're in the... You have the right things. It might be the wrong configurations about how we feel about it, how it's experienced because of systemic shit. This is what I'm getting. I am getting that under this Scorpio full moon, you Pisces placements are reclaiming your feminine power, the right that you have to be a divine feminine empress. And it has to do with picking the right reflections. It has to do with picking things that have to do with your God. Or I also get partnerships have to be a part of your path of service. I feel like if you were a Pisces placement, the Scorpio full moon might have just recently shooken you free from a partnership that you were, Six of Cups, that you were going into that was, let's say, something you were choosing to, like, let mirror you rather than letting the divine orchestrate, like, this person mirrors you. So, again, I think when we heal our divine feminine energy, we heal how we receive. So Pisces is healing and reclaiming the divine feminine. The collective divine feminine power is now in its empowerment now. So that means whatever systems of patriarchy or imbalance that were manipulating your natural abilities are being eradicated and collapsing at this time. And I feel like for the Scorpio full moon, it really illuminated for you, Pisces, that perhaps because the divine feminine had been wounded for millennia on end on this planet and had been shackled down, you may not have even known that some of the things, even, I feel like even picking a partner, even pursuing love, even trying to choose love is what I feel like Pisces is realizing was, like, the wrong approach, because that's a masculine approach trying to do both sides. Love is both equal parts attraction and creation, right? Masculine and feminine, attraction and creation, right? And I feel like your attractiveness, Pisces, was on lock. So all you could really do was bring in these partners where you can create what's happening. But it doesn't necessarily feel like this is something that was attracted to you. And when something is attracted to you, that comes from a feminine principle of it's on your divine path. So we can't attract things to us that really aren't on our higher path. And we're talking about things like soulmates, long-term partnerships, you know, these kinds of structural aspects of life. So I am just getting so many messages where I feel like there were a lot of Pisces. It wasn't until this Scorpio full moon that you would even have this perspective I'm hearing, because you've been Empress energy. Like, you are this, even if the divine feminine is, like, collectively disempowered. Like, this is what Pisces represents, the Empress, right? The totality of it all, running the entire empire, right? And that's what you would represent, because you represent the entire zodiacal wheel. You represent the transcendence. You represent all the signs, right? And so when we are looking at this cycle that the Scorpio full moon was trying to cross, so just so you can even get that awareness, I feel like these are partnerships that you went through that actually imprisoned you, that kept you stagnant, that didn't help you really move forward, just to bring you back to the awareness that you have to stay on your path of service. You are the Pisces. You are the biggest service to the world when you are Pisces, when you are really aligned to your path of service, when you, as the conscious human that you were lucky enough to be born to be, when you actually serve our creative good with that unique Piscean energy. Not when I feel like we are, because this is like going through relationships that are going to try to initiate you through things that, like, I feel like you already, these are spiritual truths that you already know. So that's why they don't move you. That's why it's like real, like, anxiety. Like, it's like, You know, and again, Pisces, if we're still dealing with that mantra of like big fish, small pond energy, or we're still dealing with, you know, aspects of like not moving forward to continue to challenge ourselves, because we are Pisces, and for the most part, like a lot of people are spiritually illiterate as is, and you really just embody spirit. So it's not even that you have to like consciously know every definition or terminology, but it's that you really like just move that way and show up in the space that way. And so I just feel like for Pisces, I'm just going to move on what I feel. I feel like, you know, there was like, God, I am too much of an empress to be dealing with this. Like it may have been like partner. I'm telling you, I'm getting things that reflect you. So partnership, what you've like really partnered your energy with at this time, I feel like was bringing you this sort of same result, this same sort of, I feel like this isn't like growing me. Like this is what I feel. It's like a love that doesn't grow. Like these flowers will just die. Let's see. And I think Pisces, because again, I talked about the collective crucifixion. So I'm feeling like in our own ways, the Scorpio full moon this sort of Taurus, the Scorpio axis facilitated everybody's crucifixion. And it's going to look different depending on the zodiac sign and like how they navigate crucifixion. But your crucifixion, your hangman moment that was supposed to enlighten you was just about showing you like what actually is your Ace of Cups, what actually is truly like something that you feel like Ace of Cups is going to be presented. It's like something that you have to explore, right? I think when we're talking about partnerships that are Eight of Swords like this, there's no exploration. There's like you tending to it. There's probably them knowing that they want, like I get like Pisces has been in a lot of relationships where like people know exactly that you're an empress. They know like you're like, oh, I really want you. But again, with Pisces, it's like, I think you're moving past the like lack of elation that comes from just like stimulating the fact that people are aware of who you are, and you need to realize like you also need to be wanting, like you should be getting that too, Pisces. Like maybe in life it's important for you to give yourself that experience where it's like, oh my God, this person makes me want to like dive into the cup and like understand new things, new territory, new whatever. And I just feel like the public crucifixion, the public like staying here, the universe keeping you in the same stalemates, in the same dry whatever, it was to just get you to realize like, oh my God, sometimes I could be the only person that keeps myself from like getting a cup that like replenishes me, you know, and I don't have to be in this experience of, you know, sacrificing spiritual initiation just to like be in partnership and make other people happy, you know, or to like fulfill people's dreams. Because I feel like Piscean, like you right now, you're really in that archetype of like people really want you for the fantasy of it, for the dream of it, for the understanding of consciousness, like people. But I think at this point, Pisces, you're coming out of a cycle where it was like, just to give other people conscious awareness, I am sacrificing my right to continue to gain new conscious awareness. Even if I'm the Pisces in the room, even if I'm the most conscious in the room, there are people more conscious than me. And I have a right as a Pisces to actually like search for like emotional gratification. Because that's what I see, right? We're talking about your female power. We're talking about how much you're a path of service, but I also just feel that way. It's like your path of service is giving to yourself, is attraction, is attracting things that mirror you, right? And it's not so much of just like being a service to other people, because I feel like this is like an empress who's so tired of doing services for other people, finishing their cycles for them, giving them, extracting wisdom, embodying wisdom for them, being an example for them. Like I think Pisces is coming down back to earth, because this cycle would have like worn and dragged it out of you. It would have really made you realize like, now Pisces, do you constantly want to be imprisoned and shackled because you aren't free to like go and integrate all of this initiation that you've been through per the partnerships that you keep leaving yourself available for? You know what I mean? Because again, I just feel like what is here for you now, and the reason for whatever, the reason for the rearrangement, the reason for the movement, or the reason for just like this, like probably like these partnerships really being in your face right now, Pisces, is because this is already available. So, you know, the universe works that way. When it's like the answer is already available, and like sometimes it's our own conscious awareness that is keeping us from like knowing that the answer is available, the universe is gonna just keep shaking shit up just to be like, no, the new path is already open. No, they are already there. Yeah, like they're waiting on you. Like it's been extended to you, truthfully. Because what I'm seeing in the recent past is it was extended to you, Pisces. You know, in the shtick of it all, in the shedding of the old way of being, which was just like, I'm here to be the especially spiritual initiate for other people. I'm here to make sure they get whatever consciousness they need, but I don't ever worry about myself and who can help me keep the empire going with their own empire and their own gifts and abilities and their own teachings, right? Like, if I'm always thinking about being the most conscious in all of my connections, I never get to be a student. I never get to learn new stuff about spirituality and how to embody that, right? And I just see that in the past, Pisces, like, you were offered this contract, this opportunity, this acknowledgement, because someone sees you as an empress, but also wants to give you the cup. Because I'm seeing that there was someone in Pisces past, something in Pisces past, that knew your desires. I'm hearing a line that's just like, they don't, like, you told me to keep quiet because the person you're with doesn't know your desires. I feel like that's Pisces energy right now. Like, it's like, these people don't know your true core desires, and there's someone that you keep connecting with and keep summoning. You keep attracting in these people that do really know your desires, but it's in conflict, and they're here to say to tell the truth. You want this, but I don't think the people that you're with that are that you are in the current Eight of Swords position that you're crossed up with is what I'm hearing. The people that you're crossed up with don't know that this is what you really want. This deeply emotionally new fulfilling start that you can commit to with spirit. You can collaborate with this the energy outside of you in spirit, right? Yeah. Okay, so Pisces, and this is a huge thing. Like, one of the things that Dennis and I have really been talking about in the last month, which was sort of meditating on winners, the winner circle, right? And what makes winners winners? Winners are the people that realize there doesn't ever need to be a loser. In order for me to be abundant, no one has to suffer. And so, we really talk about how it's not possible for, whether this is a self-sabotaging behavior or this is something you do to other people, it is never going to be possible for you to derive your happy new beginning on the backs of the suffering of something else. Something else you can't build happiness on top of somebody else's loss, on top of somebody else's pain, on top of somebody else's suffering, including your own. Like, for a lot of Pisces, I'm getting that, like, most of the time you're doing this to yourself. Most of the time you're letting yourself create and build this sort of 10 of cups, like, legacy with things that sacrifice you, parts of you, aspects of your wholeness, And I think it has to do with, like, Pisces was, because of the age of disempowerment, Pisces is going to be in the image of that. So if we're, like, fucking up women and feminine energy in general, Pisces at an internal level is going to be out of balance, because one of those fish is going to be fucking out of balance, right? And so I'm seeing that Pisces was in these deeply long-term committed partnerships that sacrifice their divine feminine. And what is your divine feminine power? The parts that you want, the undefined parts of yourself, the unseen versions, not the things that people know you for, but the things people don't know you for. You know what I mean? But that are a part of who you are, And so, I'm just getting, because like I said, Pisces, I'm hearing a lot with the Scorpio full moon that you have this public persona of how people perceive you. And because of where our literacy rates are, I get it, Pisces, you get so much being put in a box. Even if people think they're being expansive because they think they're being cut by the two things they know about astrology and talking about a Pisces in general. Like, I just think because you're always just put, like, your identity outside of you is just, like, so for everybody, like, everybody feels like they have a piece of you and they're always contributing to what you are. I just think there are big parts of Piscean energies and Piscean placements that just go largely, like, never owned, identified, supported, or acknowledged, like they don't exist. And I think, like, it probably was a lot of, like, looking at partners outside of you, Pisces, that you're committing to and you're trying to do the thing, but that you're having that Scorpio release that says it's okay for you to say, like, you want to receive too, right? It's okay for you to acknowledge you have a divinely feminine aspect that, like, wants to play the role that it's meant to play. Like, you get what you can create with other people. I think people love Pisces magic. They love what Pisces creates, but oh my God, Pisces, this is not what a 10 of Pentacles is. If a 10 of Pentacles comes with a 5 of Swords, that means you're going to self-sacrifice. It means either you're sacrificing someone else, but ultimately, if someone does this, that means they're building happiness while sacrificing something else. Again, when I talk to people all the time about this, it will be very cut and dry. A soulmate is not something that can be, like, just, like, picked out and derived out of, like, karma or manufactured or controlled into being. It's something you determined before you came here. So if you are trying to, like, reconnect with a soulmate per, like, the guidance, like, okay, we're going to jump down and we'll need to find each other, stay in connection with me when we go earthside, it would be that. It wouldn't be that, like, oh, I'm here to just, like, swim around and see, oh, maybe I'll stop here and this will be my new soulmate. Pisces, that you are, and I want to say, like, you're too spiritual. You already know that. You already know it can't. That's not how it goes. It's not just picking a partner. And I think you, like, because you're Pisces and because I think people can come up to you and they can be so in need of your medicine and in need of, like, what you give, I think that can be attractive to you, right? It can be, but attractive to your masculine, not attractive to your feminine, because those people are coming up to you asking if you can fit or into their life rather than attracting, which, right, if your feminine was as balanced as your masculine, like again, at Pisces, you might be comfortable one or the other, right? We all are. But if your feminine is out of balance with your masculine in any way, I just feel like that's who would be objecting to some of these partnerships you've gone into, Pisces, where you're, you know, not acknowledging that, like, it's great that I feel comfortable in terms of like how I wanted to go and create this relationship, but I'm not really like, I feel like that's what would be not checking out is like, maybe you attracted, I'm just getting a lot of messages, maybe you attracted this mirror at a time where maybe you didn't feel even, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like you could have created something that maybe is objectively good. Like, I can't complain about this partner that I just created because, like, we're both independent. It's not toxic in this way. But where the toxicity, what I'm getting for you, Pisces, would have been like, you know, but you have the right to, you don't have to sacrifice any part of yourself. Like, if you wanted more time to develop, or if maybe you were just budding and then somebody really, like, tried to lock you in when you were still transforming. So, like, now this partner represents a version of you that is not even here anymore, and they're resonating from that person, and I feel like you've been silenced. I feel like in this partnership you've been so silenced because you're like, yo, like, I'm just kidding with Pisces, like, if you would have called me like 7 years ago, you would have had the right version of me. But the version I am right now feels really boxed into this because I think you attracted this because, again, if you're in an Empress energy, it means you're not looking at any one crop. So say you bring in a relationship to you in some way. This could be friend, lover, family, whatever. You say you bring in some sort of a relationship outside of you at a time when you're in your Empress energy, there can be a lot of oversight because you're managing so much more than I think this relationship understood you to be managing. So they might ascertain like a certain fragmented aspect of yourself. Like they might be a match for a part of you, but you're not just growing tomatoes, you're growing apples, you're growing lettuce and celery and fucking mushroom. You're growing all this shit right in your garden. And I think because you were in an Empress disposition, you might have attracted in things like the whale does when they eat. I always use that allegory, like, oh, like when a whale eats, it just could take in microplastics, fucking anchor, it could take in fucking anything. And it's just eating and it's going to just process all of it. And I feel like, you know, there were things that I feel like Pisces like fucked around. I was like, how am I locked? Like, when did I get locked into this? Like, when did I, like, and you feel it under the Scorpio moon because you definitely went under the Scorpio moon would feel the ways that you don't feel free. You would feel the way that you're like there's a lot of spiritual truth around you that's trying to initiate you out of this. Just because of the fact that, you know, you need to let your divine feminine receive something too. I think this is just about like sometimes things are like, again, people coming into your life for a reason, for a season, a lesson, a blessing, whatever the case may be, Pisces. But I am trusting that this will really mean something to you because look what's coming in your near future. This Knight of Cups grew up. That Knight of Cups, that came to you because they know your desires. They know what you really want. And it was and they triggered in you that you're an Empress who has a lot bigger desires than what this little Six of Cups keeps you stuck in. You know, because I also feel like that's what I'm getting. It's just like I'm getting like attracting a partner that only reiterates the same type of like spiritual lesson that Pisces knows they've already graduated. So when you don't like to think about it too much, but when you really think about long-term future, you're like, if this person can only really trigger for me the same exact lesson that I'm not even working on anymore, what do I think our long-term potential really would be? And I think that Pisces doesn't ever want to think about it because, again, this energy may not even be that this is like toxic as in they're like trying to do anything to you. I think this is an issue of bigness and consciousness. I think this has to do with the fact that, like, Pisces, you really need people who are at your aptitude at a cups level, at a feminine level, because I think people, like I said, when we were in a paradigm that only valued masculine energy, all feminine sides were getting fucked from behind because at the end of the day, people were only looking at, like, people only even still know Pisces and pretty much every zodiac sign from how their masculine output is. So people, if you're a successful Pisces, which you probably are because you guys just have so much mastered, you know, you're walking around the world and people know you and your reputation is largely built off of what you've created, which is great, right? What you've gone out and done. But they don't see, no one would really acknowledge what you've attracted into your life, which is just as powerful, right? Just as if I'm someone who lives in an environment that does not guarantee any sort of variables that have to do with like wealth and abundance, and I attract an opportunity for wealth and abundance, that's an achievement in and of itself. It's a feminine achievement. It's not masculine. People might be like, but you didn't do anything for that. It's like, yeah, I did the attracting for it. I had to be vibrationally aligned enough to bring that right to me. So I just feel like, Pisces, the whole site, this whole 2 weeks when you watch this, between the new moon and the full moon, but if you're talking about the Taurus Scorpio axis, Spirit was trying to shake you out of building forever with something that was going to sacrifice a part of your divine feminine, which you don't need to do. And it was initiated in the recent past by you realizing like, oh, someone keeps like coming up to me per their own internal guidance. They don't give a fuck about wanting to ask if that's appropriate. They're going to come up to me either way and be like, I feel guided to you. I feel like I can assess the desire you really have. And I feel like you were watching and waiting and going through your own cycle of freedom and liberation. And in the same mirror, this is very like twin flame type vibes, but in the same mirror, this person, as you broke those chains and got real with yourself under the Scorpio moon, this person is now in the image of because maybe when they were in the Knight of Cups, it wasn't enough for you to fully commit, but they were just reflecting your potential for transformation. They're like, don't worry, I'm about to transform into what you really want. That can actually do this for you in a healthy way without any losses. So we can just be winners. We don't have to be win, lose paradigm. And so now you're seeing, and so again, Pisces, you might be seeing that if you see something outside of you that now has matured, like that has spiritually matured, emotionally matured, has like developed, I want you to pause and take a second and look at yourself because it reflects you. Everything you just did, all the discomfort, all the acknowledging, like I can't have my happiness built on top of someone else's suffering. I can't do that. Doesn't matter how good someone wants to tell me of a life they can give me. Because it's kind of like, anywho, what the fuck ever. Sorry, I just got a weird notification. That may have to do with, whatever. So, but like I said, Pisces, I feel as though if you're seeing that outside of yourself and you are opening up to that, all of the things that you let go of, all of that addressing, like I said, that core mantra, which is like, I know now I cannot build happiness on top of sacrificing, like on top of someone else's unhappiness. I don't care if the partner is like, yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like the type of partner that like may really, really like want to start something with you, but like the circumstances are just sticky. Like they just got, and I'm not saying love doesn't happen, but love is not in a rush and there's nothing to do. So a lot of these like Hollywood narratives of like, in terms of like when you see like, I just got divorced or I just got widowed, but like, and I also have like a newborn baby but I fell in love with you. And a lot of that we need to see through. We need to slow it all the way down because this is like someone who's with someone that's like, dude, but you can't really, this isn't really going to be a fresh start. It's not going to really be fair to either of us that like, in order for you as my partner to come into my partner, you're going to have to sacrifice time with this like new child you have that really needs you. This is about Pisces doing that, not just being whatever people need them to be because like, oh, you know what, I do like them. Like, because I think this goes back to the lover's energy. It's like, things are ordained for you. They're either ordained or they're not. Things are either like part of your divine path or they're like not. And so no more of like swaying or picking up Pisces because Pisces is just so high up and like managing so much more that they don't really care. You don't care. Like sometimes you're like, oh, so that, it's very Empress. It's like, I'm so abundant. I'm not worried about nothing. But I really feel like, if there's any part of the relationships that you commit yourself to, this could even be just a relationship with yourself. If the current relationship you have with yourself, which is the root of it, sacrifices any part of who you actually are, the Scorpio full moon is about to bring forward and trigger someone that tells you can't deny this. It's like freaky. It's like very Scorpionic. It's like, don't lie. It's like I said, like if you're going to the altar and the marriage is, it's obviously not a real marriage because it's not something that you really can say in your bones. Like I know I could commit to this for life because all of the signs of, health, pacing, divine timing, slow burn type of energy are there. This is like the person showing up at the wedding that you would object for and you would walk out with. The Spirit's going to trigger that for you, Pisces, because they just don't want you actually going to the altar with this shit. They don't want you actually doing the 10 of Pentacles shit. Because I think you were making 10 Pentacles before the Divine Feminine was back liberated. So again, all of that will crumble. And I just don't want you to be holding on to anything. You get what I'm saying? Out of an idea of stability. Because this is what I'm saying. I feel like Pisces is at a place right now where you were mixing with things that you thought were going to stabilize, right? Temperance. You were alchemizing and mixing up things within yourself. You were looking at yourself so that you could stay stable. Knight of Pentacles. And I think that might have also been a era of fear. I am hearing a side note, Pisces, that like finances and like your long-term like relevancy as because again, you Pisces, you came up and your success and value came up in the age of Pisces where, you know, you had to perform your value in order to get a paycheck for it, right? And so when all that collapses, now we're wondering, Pisces, I know it has been a real issue in the financial sector of like, well, what am I going to do now? Because I'm not like the most relevant pop star anymore. I'm not the most, you know, I've been in the game for a long time, or, you know, I've done this for a long time and I don't know that I can really keep up or compete with all this new energy that seems destined and fated for all these other people to like keep doing. So I know you really were just trying to mix temperance, like Sagittarian, or you were trying to mix with something that I think you thought would give you your Knight of, like you were seeing yourself for your Knight of Pentacles, which is valid. It's fair. If stability was the only aspect of life, right? If what you could do financially was all there really was to life. And I think you're realizing now that because outside of you, you've got this sort of Two of Pentacles, 10 of Cups. What's missing is the eternity. The bondage, like, right? Like these lifetime commitments, like doing this is only not codependency when you're here, right? When you're actually mixing with things that end of day actually like reflect the full spectrum of everything you're capable of feeling, expressing, and being, right? This is a divinity that says, because otherwise you really are sort of in this poverty consciousness of just like mix, you're orbiting each other, but you're not mixing. 10 of Cups is like, and it's so funny because right before I did this, I just had trigger warning, but I just had like a nice like sex break, right? Like I just had a nice, like, and that sacred experience under the Scorpio full moon for me is about, it is alchemical. It's about what we create together. It isn't like separate parts. It isn't separate things. Like when me and my partner come together to make love, like we're making something that we create together. And I just feel like here Pisces is committing to something that gives you stability, but that you never actually fuse your energy with to like realize what we create together. And I think that's the flag you'll tell. If you want to know if you have a partnership that's like in that vein of things, it's going to look like that. Versus the people who like can be stitched into forever because they actually merge. Like the 10 of Cups for both of these people is something they can only get with this partner. Like this man will not get whatever abundance comes from this without this person God asked them to build it with. And I think you're seeing that now because you're looking at people who have gotten sustainability down. I think you haven't been able, Pisces, to master a sustainable partnership in a long time. And I think it has to do with you cannot go from a performance of your value. You cannot be taking old Age of Pisces ideals where it's like, oh, this person will bring me, like we can alchemize and we can stay balanced to one another. Because I think, Pisces, you're good at acclimating to people. You're good at balancing people to keep it peaceful and to keep it secure. But relationships are messy. Like I said, like I just popped out, right? I'm like rejuvenated. But it's just like you would rather want to know that we're always in simpatico. You'd rather want to know that like this is something I don't even have to try for. Two of Pentacles, we will always orbit one another. We will always be able to sustain this love.